and welcome to this week's Council Bluffs News. I'm Marie Zeitner. Since 2005, thousands of America's veterans have taken the honor flight to Washington, D.C. There, they visit memorials corresponding with the wars they served in. September 30th, 385 Korean War veterans get the chance to travel to the nation's capital with the Central Iowa Honor Flight. The day begins as normal for most. Only this breakfast takes place at 3 a.m. It's an early wake-up call for Korean War veterans ready for a visit to the nation's capital.
I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, I think it'll be a great experience.
September 30th, 385 veterans get to know each other while preparing for the Central Iowa Honor Flight to Washington, D.C.
It's outstanding that we can have such a thing. I am honored and privileged to be a part of it.
These men and women who served for our country are about to experience a flood of different emotions as they visit 5 memorials in just a few hours.
I want to see the monument to us, the Korean conflict.
I have a son in the Army who has recommended the Korean monument to me. And he said, "Mom, you must see that." So it's very timely that I can go and be with all these men and go see that monument.
While most have never seen the monuments in person before, this isn't the first rodeo for a handful of veterans.
I flew in the World War II flight about 5 years ago. So being in Korea, so I qualified for this one too.
Anticipation of what's ahead has everyone excited to make the trip to Washington, D.C.
I'm looking forward to, enjoying the day and being outdoors and just seeing everything that I can.
CBTV goes along with the Korean War veterans to Washington, D.C. After boarding everyone onto a 747 aircraft, we take off out of Des Moines around 6:30 a.m. After a 2-hour flight, we land at Dulles International Airport in Virginia, where the veterans are greeted with a warm welcome. Supporters cheer as the veterans arrive near the nation's capital. Thank you! After 2 hours in the sky, the Honor Flight heroes hop aboard charter buses on their way to Arlington National Cemetery and Memorial Amphitheater in Arlington, Virginia. As guards pay tribute to fallen soldiers, the veterans watch and take pictures.
Tomb of the Unknown Soldier is fantastic. It really is.
On the way to their next stop, a glimpse of the Iwo Jima Monument. This famous statue shows Marines hoisting an American flag. Next, everyone is chartered to the Korean Memorial, created in 1995.
Since I'm a Korea veteran, this is my favorite place right here.
This memorial means the most to this group of veterans as it's called the Korean. Most of these statues were established in 1994. The statues resemble soldiers in action on the battlefield. For some, the trip elicits vivid memories of their time in war.
We were on a hill called Outpost Harry, and we knew days ahead of time that we were going to get hit by a force about 3 times larger than we were of Chinese.
George Buck served in the U.S. Army during the Korean War. He tells the story of surviving an invasion by Chinese militants.
All I could do is grab my carbine, and just as they were coming in, I was going out with my carbine, and then they would throw another grenade in. I could hear it laying there sizzling.
Buck played dead in order to survive. After waiting several hours, he was rescued by fellow Americans.
That's some of the things you do and really not thinking. You just want to survive.
And those who didn't survive are not forgotten. A large mural helps others remember their personal experiences.
It brings back a lot of memories, for one thing.
I told my wife, I said, I've had this hat, Montgomery Disc Cutter, longer than I've had you. I've had her 60 years.
Most meaningful are the messages there in the
granted telling how many people lost their lives and were captured.
In addition to the heartfelt reflection, the Korean Memorial brings out a sense of pride in the vets.
I believe that I was born in the best country in the world, and even though we have made a few mistakes, there's no place like the United States of America.
The honor flight also stops at this World War II memorial, a war in which some of these Korean veterans also served in. As soon as the war heroes step off the buses, the first thing they see is the word Iowa carved on a wall. Each wall represents either the Atlantic or Pacific Oceans. In the middle is a fountain from which the Lincoln Monument is in great view.
Just super. The whole program is just great.
A wall full of stars also catches the veterans' attention. Each star represents 100 fallen soldiers, and there are 4,048 of them. The last stop brings the group back to Arlington, Virginia. The Air Force Memorial is the newest of those visited, created in October of 2006.
If I didn't come today, I probably would never get a chance to come.
With everyone thanking these men and women for their service, it's the veterans who are truly grateful for this opportunity.
I really appreciate Hy-Vee and Casey's and the others who sponsor this flight for us.
I'm really pleased with this honor flight. It's amazing to see so many South Koreans here, and they're very appreciative. So it's been a wonderful experience.
After another bus ride and another flight, the long day concludes with another salute waiting back in Des Moines as the veterans return home. First at the airport, and again at the hotel. A 21-hour day, worth every second. Hy-Vee and Casey's General Stores paid for the expenses of the one-day trip. The veterans did very well, and everyone I talked to enjoyed themselves. The Korean War took place from 1950 to 1953 to help unify North and South Korea. The mission was unsuccessful, but the service of these men and women is forever appreciated.